So I'm just going to go ahead and paint this. Probably not a lot of conversation on painting this particular part, but we'll just kind of work through it. Maybe talking to you a little bit. This area is mostly a flat value. I'm starting with, as far as percentages of white, this is the 80%. I mean the 20%. And most areas change are not true values on that. Like that. Okay. Let's get that cleaned off. Oh, I was going to do the focus here. Focus, focus, focus. Okay. Clean that off a little bit. Then, on the edge right here, just right where it touches, it's slightly lighter. So this is the 60%. So I can define the edge with the tip of the brush once again. I know you guys have never thought of that before. And then this is going to be the blend. I got to be careful as I pull that down. Remember when you're doing details, it's also helpful to breathe. Some people do the old hold the breath thing, you know, and then they at the end of their breath they start to shake and that sort of a thing. But it is helpful just to kind of breathe. So that's blended that little piece in. That was pretty cool. And then the rest of this is mostly the 60%. Oh, I was gonna clean it off just a little bit more. Is that right? Yeah. And the shadow edge, I'm not going to blend that in, but I am going to go right up to it. Okay. Pull back a little bit so I can see what I'm doing. I don't know, is that a lighter area? That could be a lighter area. Maybe not. Most of these on the forms, and when I'm looking at the picture, the reference on that, I'm looking at it, and a lot of these forms are pretty dark. Brush strokes are kind of important on that one, so you need to think of which way things are going. I think those are going that way. I'm going to rotate this a little bit and continue on with this. So I keep my brush strokes going the same direction. This will add a little bit of contrast to the cylinder. The cylinder had all verticals. This one has kind of some horizontal-ishy, diagonal sorts of things. You'll notice there's a little white line right there, right on the edge. That is intentional. Well, at least I hope it is on that one. So this was my 60%er, yeah. And so now I'm going to bounce back to this guy here, and just on the edge, just kind of touch in a little bit of my 20 or my 80%er. I'm just going to bounce that in a little bit. And I'm overlapping because I'm going to blend. Okay, that has a little bit of light right there on that side. That's way cool. Now this one's going to be a little bit darker. I'm looking at that. Wow, that's like almost the darkest I have there, huh? I'm going to start right out with my dark blue right into here. I know the cast shadow is going to be darker, but maybe this one will be a mixture or something. And I do have a little bit of paint in my brush, a lighter paint, and so that's kind of, I'm okay with that. I think this is going to be a little lighter anyway. As I said before, the French Ultramarine Blue right out of the tube there has some transparent qualities to it, so I think that's what we're seeing with some of this. Oh, also I wanted to mention, I think last class period I was so excited about what I was doing, I may or may not have taken the roll. So if there's an error on something that's causing you grief, please let me know. Shouldn't cause most people grief just because of it doesn't count against you as far as your citizenship on those. So when I make these strokes, you can kind of see what I was talking about with those pieces being slightly transparent. what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to paint the whole thing that dark blue, and then I'm going to come up back in and I'm going to lighten some of the areas. Because I want it as far as, I don't want it to be a value 20. I kind of want it to be a value 10 on things. So I'm just going to kind of paint this whole area in, and then I'm going to go back in and lighten the areas that I need to have light. Because we decided that this was a pretty dark color. Like I said, most of the things on this preliminary drawing, the reference photo, things are pretty darn dark on there, so. Okay, so this panel, like I said, is mostly, I'm leaving it painting the whole thing mostly one value, the dark value, and then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to change it to the just where it needs some adjustments. Okay, we're almost there with the first application of this. Now you can see where I have the strokes going across. You can see where I can see some of the value underneath it. The theory being is, if I had really hit the value dead on, if I had one that was, instead of a 0%, if I had one that was maybe a 10%, I probably would have been able to do that a little bit easier. All right. So I want that right along that edge to be the darkest. So I'm using these horizontal strokes to make sure that that's dark. Nice thing, you can make multiple coats of this too. And sometimes that's what you have to do. If you have, like the greens, a lot of times, they're really transparent. And so you have to make 2 coats, 2 applications. Okay, so now I have that blue in there on those. I'm going to clean off my brush. Okay, now I have some areas that I do need to be that are lighter on those. And so one of those areas is right here, down at the bottom. It's a little bit lighter right here. And so here's some of that lighter blue. Right in there. And then I'm just going to come across here like this. And I'm going to blend it in. Clean off my brush. And now blend it into the darker blue. So it's a gradual change that we see on this area down here. Kind of like that. And then same with up here. This area right here is a little bit lighter. So I went ahead and I've added in my little bit of light paint right there that you can kind of see. And then I'm going to come in here, I cleaned up my brush, and blend that in just a little bit. so that the edge is a little bit lighter. But this back edge here, this is dark. This is the dark. Making a little bit of my vertical strokes. That's why I was making my vertical strokes. Very lightly want to blend those in a little bit. Okay, so now let's look at it. So we have the area down here that's blending into the lighter. That's getting a little bit too light there. Let me go back and get some darker blue. Gently apply the strokes. Okay, all right, look at that. So now we have the cube done. That's kind of cool. We can go back and do some more touch-ups here and there if we want, but I like that. That's a cool one.